So welcome to our EAC meeting tonight. Approaching the holidays. I'm going to be it might go more slowly than usual, but Dan, who was our manager here, Dan Fox, said, well, because I have to take minutes as I go, I should make it a short meeting, but actually taking minutes might make it a little longer. You'll have to have some patience. I might need to write things down, and you've got everybody to write things down. So that we can compile and have some notes. So Margaret Briggs could make it tonight. She's our secretary and she's a brilliant one. And she manages to just get all the notes perfectly. So the first thing on tap is to approve the minutes from last time. They were circulated and no one had any corrections. So do I have a motion? Make a motion to accept the minutes. Okay. Do I have a second? I'll second. Jamie, okay. And all in favor? Aye. Good, approved, approved unanimously. Okay. All right, great. Whoops, I already made a mistake. All right. The lighting ordinance, I did send to everybody on the list, and I think everybody here is on my current email list. I tried to say hi and introduce everybody new. I don't think I know you. Yes.
But I can't really hear you. My name's Anna Kelly.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm with the Fox. And I recently have some interest in
Yes.
this.
We love them. Can you hear me better now? Is that better?
Yeah,
A little bit? Okay.
that's better.
I just wanted to make sure that you were on the email list, which you are. And you got the addition to the lighting ordinance. So the engineer is doing amendments to our ordinances. They are eventually all going to be voted on February, March, and we have been receiving them as they've been moving along, and we have been giving our own recommendations. And I have Mary Beth is not coming.
No.
Right, she is not.
Okay.
Okay. So this lighting ordinance is something that looks pretty good to some of us. Did you have nothing to add? Does anybody else have any opinions on the additions to the lighting ordinance?
I do have some, I mean, I guess for me, I think it's been my, comment here along. I think this lighting ordinance, the revisions tend to focus more on nature, not the residents. I think it's very important to have lighting in the neighborhoods. I know my own development is actually pretty dark this time of year. So I noticed that some of the revisions took out what was in the older, and then the concern about safety of pedestrians and residents seems to be changed, and the focus seems to be on, nature and animals and, and I guess insects and that's the reason for dimming the lights or reducing the lights and that's again my concern, that focus is not actually on the residents and, children in the neighborhoods that would, benefit from brighter street lights and more street lighting. And that's what looks like the revisions tend to, seem to be eliminating or reducing.
Okay. Do anyone in the audience have a chance to read the all commercial, industrial, recreational notes should be added. The lighting fixtures should be controlled by programmable timers, but are you okay with that one? It's mainly the focus that is an issue for you, rather than particular items.
It's really, well, again, if you compare, I think looking at what you had sent out versus what the current ordinance is.
Well, these are additions.
Okay. Some of it's, I don't know if it's additions or some of it was Because again, like the current ordinance I found online says provide lighting for safe and clear pedestrians. I don't see that in what you sent.
Was it in that section?
It's, yeah, the two. Yeah, I sold it.
22.
22714, and it's really, I mean, when you're saying additions, it's not an addition, they're deleting, they've deleted. At least, again, at least the version I found online. So, I just feel like the focus of this revised ordinance, which I don't know who, the intention of whoever drafted it, but it seems like the focus is dimming and reducing and eliminating lights in the future, and I do think that lighting is important for public safety and again, the children in the neighborhoods. And that's what
Okay,
I'm concerned about.
I got you. Now, just to point out, the very first item, A, under purpose is provide lighting of facilities to protect public health, safety, and welfare. That is the first line, and that's still there. Right.
But then it goes into protect the natural environment. So again, in other words, rather have no lights or very dim lights, and
That wasn't really what we were saying.
Yeah,
I
but
believe.
let's stick with just this. Dan, am I correct in under my understanding that for something like this, anything in red is an addition,
It's new.
is new, and if there is something removed, it would be there but crossed out.
Be blacked out.
It would be blacked out.
There's black
So
lines. Yeah.
this is a particular group of sections where there are additions, and if there is something removed from here, now you may be thinking of the one we worked on before.
no, I pulled this again. I pulled it up in an email so I could print it. I don't. Again, so you're saying that the actual ordinance,
Here's what I want to say.
I don't see it.
They didn't list every item of the ordinance. So there could be things that aren't here, but that doesn't mean they're not in the copy that's moving forward. It just means that these are being added, and they are being added without crossing out the corresponding section.
See, that's, the ordinance that I found online has, for other one, it has section A, B, C, D. And the one each, I'm just going with A, B, C. So when I look at the ordinance that you sent to us, it has A, B, C, D, but the only one that's the same is A. You have a new B, C, and D. Like you have, for your D, it says promote energy conservation. But for the D that I found online, it says limit spacing, fixture type and height of lighting to less than like that's what's on D online. So again, I understand, like, yeah, I mean, typically when you make revisions, you cross out what's there. So if you're saying our current ordinance relatively short? Is that how it works? 22, yeah, but this 22714.
I would, I went by the assumption, which I thought was the case, that anything, yeah. So we will,
This is, I mean, you can't really see it that well, but that's what I printed off online. It's 22.7, it's really small, but it doesn't match up. I mean, there's not anything.
What's the hell?
Lighting.
In purpose, it is the purpose is to regulate the design, placement, orientation, and distribution of lighting to.
Yeah, same thing, same thing, it says.
Control glare. It's very different. Do you have any explanation?
No. Well, we'll look into it.
Maybe.
We're not ready to adopt. We're not ready to actually we're pulling the stuff together. Just to give you a heads up where we're at with everything, we're pulling all this information together. Craig's going through everything again. Craig and Scott are going through everything again. Once that is completed, it'll come back to the board. They'll take a look at it and we'll decide if we're ready to send it to Bucks County Planning Commission for their review. Once we get their review back, and our planning commission, they both get to review it. Once we get those reviews back, then the board will decide what comments are incorporated from their, some may be incorporated, some may not, just the same as yours. Some may be incorporated, some may not. It's the board's decision, what goes in and what doesn't go in.
So there's time.
There's time, exactly. The Bucks County Planning Commission, it probably will not go there till it be next year, January. We'll probably get it back within 30 to 45 days. So your time frame is right. It's going to be February, March before the board actually sits and takes a look at it.
Which is still moving pretty quickly.
It is, but it's when you think it started last year or started the beginning of this year, actually. So.
If you have making changes to it, the red line should show up, you should be crossing out.
Black
Right,
line
like
rhythm.
that gives you the impression that it's a very short ordinance that they're adding a bunch of stuff to. And that's not accurate. The current ordinance is pretty, it's almost as long, it looks like it's. Yeah, it looks like it's over 5. Yeah.
Right, so I'd like to suggest two things. One is that we table the decision on recommending this in total. However, some of us I know approve of these as additions, right? Without any discussion of taking things out. Yes, Lucy.
I have 2 comments. They're logistical. Okay, so on number 4, I don't understand what it's about streetlights. And then the last sentence says thereafter the property owner that shall be responsible. Is that right? I mean, did property owner be responsible for streetlights? I was just wondering about that. Like it doesn't sound right. Number 4, streetlights. You see it?
The applicant shall be responsible for all costs involved in lighting the streets until such time that the township accepts the streets for dedication or accepts the improvements at the end of the 18th month of maintenance period.
8 months, we take responsibility. But
What does it mean, the property owner? Is that like the person who's got the properties on?
I think it's township property.
It's worded, I think.
take a look at that.
Yeah,
All right, and my second, just a little logistical thing, because I read this last year. Under 5, it goes A, B, C, A. So is that not right?
Take a look.
Yeah. That's all.
Yeah, it's just the first draft. Yeah.
this needs another go around. So
I'll make a motion to table.
motion to table. I'll second.
Yes.
Okay. Wait. Sure. Okay. Now, Margaret sent a proxy to me, to vote for her. Oh, no?
Person at meeting.
Okay. Oh, okay. Either way.
Or she could have joined via Zoom. Yeah, so you either have to physically be there or you have to join the meeting and be part of it. You can't do.
Could you like introduce everyone, like
Yes.
goals are?
Yes, I'm sorry. We've gotten to be kind of and Sarah probably has the same question as Anna. So I'm Kathleen Davis. I'm chair of the EAC.
Carol Weston Young.
Member.
Katie Dixon.
And we have to remember for their sake to use.
And Mark.
Act on the township manager.
Yes, Dan Fox, manager. Barbara Briggs, is usually here first time she's missed a meeting, and some of you may know. So to introduce these guys, Michelle, remind me of your last name? Goreski, who is Master Worship Steward that I met at a planting. Sarah Benz, native plant business chat, we would like that, chat native plant person, Sarah. Native plant person. We did a tree planting in the yard. And Edling, who is with several future farm and garden group and is interested in this stuff as well. Can you hear me now, Anna? Is that good?
Huh?
Can you hear me?
You do that, you talk in the microphone, I think. Okay.
Okay, so that's tabled unanimous. So the demonstration garden, to catch up people who have not been here before, we have planned and gotten permission to create a demonstration native pollinator garden right there, North Branch Park.
Down the road, right down.
Right here.
down the lake.
Right here in North Branch Park. Not too far from the basketball. It's an area all to itself between paved areas, and a couple of trees as anchors in the end. So it should be safe from little feet, etc. And it seems like a good space. We, have done a lot of planning so far, but the next step is to put down cardboard, to smother the turf. So, and then mulch on top of that, so that it will be, nice and squishy for the spring when we want to go plant some native plants. So we need to set up a date for that. I think between me and Lucy and somebody else, we might have enough cardboard at this point.
Yes.
Looking good. However, you're free to bring cardboard and we can always double up. Might be good. Does anybody go ahead?
Well, I think to do that, we're gonna need to get, the offices, so when they can put mulch, share. Cause it had, when you put the cardboard, it would put mulch, so it happens simultaneously. We could lay it out, they could dump it if it's a dump truck, which would make it faster. But
So what if we use the township's mulch, which you know, because you used it at Coleman, just for the first layer? Cause it could be really, it's right there. It's like 100 yards away from our spot.
okay, then we just need a cart, like a gorilla cart to move it.
Right, we could do that, or they could take a shovel and.
But you need to set that, this could be.
Yes.
Yes. That's gonna be that.
And again, it's all their availability. It just has to be coordinated with them. You can coordinate that with Ryan.
So. It could work. And then I could coordinate with Ryan. Ryan Cressman is the head of Public Works. And he's great. He's been helping us out with a lot of things. Those rain barrels at the tree plantings were set up by Ryan and his crew, filled with water, things like that. And if he doesn't have time, we can use wheelbarrows and carts and walk it over.
Should be able to schedule it. It's, the grass cutting's done, so there's availability, so.
But
No.
at least a yard of mulch from Coleman to Forest Drive last week. So you can do, but, okay, so what kind of dates? I mean, it's just putting down the cardboard, taking some knives and shaping, talking about plans, and maybe wheelbarrowing mulch. Days of the week that are good or bad.
Thursday and Friday is good for me, but I think it really depends on the time. Most afternoons. I don't know about everybody, it's a lot of schedules
It is a
to
lot
get
of
together.
schedules, and not everybody is going to be able to do it. We know this.
Get the weather for next week. Wednesday's calling for rain. And Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday day, Thursday, Friday is just partly. But the high temperatures of both those days are only 41. Earlier in the week, it's warmer. Yeah.
Tuesday morning instead of.
Yeah. What if we shoot for Tuesday afternoon? If Brian says no go, but it would be good if it rained on it.
That'd be
Yeah, that
Wednesday.
would be perfect, yeah.
No,
So-
I mean.
Oh, you're doing it?
Yeah, like the next
Oh, yeah.
week can rain. But
I would just touch base with Ryan tomorrow and see what she can, I just don't know his schedule for next week.
Well, I think we're all waiting for her.
Well, we have. Ideas we pitched it to. I know what he would say to me. He would say, give me some times and I'll let you know. So if I don't have some times, I can't start the conversation. He's right. I know from experience, that's how it's going to work. Tuesday and Friday. Okay.
Tuesday, I can go, not Friday.
And we're
Maybe you
talking
send something via the email.
after I speak with him? Yes, definitely. Yes,
Yes,
it won't be
it doesn't
Thursday.
require.
Or even Tuesday.
Tuesday, I don't have to go. So, but, Monday, Thursday, Friday, I work 5 minutes away, but I can do my lunch break.
The one thing I think might take a little time is the cutting to shape.
You don't have to.
And yet really, if you don't cut
you
it,
don't have to.
it's on and it'll.
Yeah. Severe. Under the cardboard, those are cardboard. So
If it's
they dump soil. where we talked about this. Right over was the spot that we overlooked it. We couldn't do it over where the drainage area was. And so
and so.
you would pick the area along the drive. And it had soil.
They have as well.
Yeah, there was soil on top. Am I the only one? Oh,
I'll check that out. Okay, the Tuesday or Friday, I can't do Monday. What was the other day you said, Sarah?
Thursday.
it's like we're all moving it. Get right.
And I know I have to give him some options, that's why this,
Give him a heads up tomorrow.
Give them a chance.
okay, excellent, yeah, and I'll write them. Okay, great. And then just as a heads up, for those of you who haven't been here in the past, when is the appropriate time? Probably in May and probably, hopefully in coordination with getting some kids from baseball teams and stuff, so that the community will be involved. We'll do the planting. We are getting the donations on the native plants. Lucy.
Are we gonna go a little bigger than what did we say, 10 by 20? Or 8 by 10, we're gonna go.
8 by 16 was the original.
Yeah.
Literally, that would get lost in the space. I think it should be a little bit bigger.
So Ryan wants to know that maybe.
Oh, he talked about that.
25.
It's growing.
It's so easy to fill it.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
I think we'll have enough.
You think? Yeah, okay, okay. Okay. And we had one more suggestion that we don't need to talk about now, but you can just tuck it away. Karen Ogden, who is our person at the Bucks County Conservation District, said, oh, so are you going to put an arbor in the middle for a nice vine? And I said, well, that's a Boy Scout endeavor, isn't it? You know, because they always build things for you. She said, yeah, beautiful vines over it and a path under it. Okay. It's growing. But one step at a time, I'll talk to Ryan, and I will send out the date. And we'll get it done. Right. We always get things done. All right, terrific. Moving on. I hope you take a good. Open space. So this is exciting. Let me back up. Let me think. So the township has an open space fund. Years ago, 20-some years ago, these are your copies. There was a referendum and the residents heartily approved a slight millage extra in their taxes to
Increase in earned income tax.
increase it earned, I'm sorry, thank you. You're welcome. I'm not very good at articulating that kind of stuff. It's good. Okay, increase in earned income tax. It's not big. It's maybe an average about $40 a household average. is what I-
And all, no, it all depends on the income in the household. Right.
Over the next years, some purchases have been made. One of them is the Coleman property where we just had the opening of the Chamonix Trail here in Newburgh. And there are some tree plantings that just been happening. That was a big piece. I'm going to pass this around. So the township realized it was time to think about it again. Put out a survey of residents again and see how residents are feeling about it. Not a referendum, just to get a sense of how the township residents are feeling about purchasing open space. What's the importance of open space? What kind of open space? And so a survey was done, which I sent to you guys. You got that? It was very impressive, I thought. And at the same time, the township asked the engineer to produce an open space map. Right now, we only have a hard copy. It's a draft. It's not 100% complete, but it's close. You gave this to us last week.
Yeah, the whole survey and the map are part of the open space plan, which is not done yet. So,
And the county is helping to write an open space plan.
Correct. And the results and the maps will be part of the plan.
So
Okay.
the
Mhm.
survey was done. We have the results. The maps are being done, although this is a draft, it's not complete. And the board would welcome from us any recommendations on knowing there's a plan coming. Next, any action items that we would recommend.
I wouldn't identify properties. Okay. Good. Okay.
They're all. Okay, so I'm just gonna pass this around so you can see. Yeah, sorry about that. That was. There are a few things that are open but not marked. On this, in pencil, I marked off the whole area around Peace Valley, East County. For some reason, that didn't get marked yet. So all that area around Lake Helena is county open space, untouched. There are some areas that are owned by Pico. They keep that. That's their right of way. That's not going to get developed. I don't think they can sell that, can they, Dan? No. So that's also, in a sense, preserved open space, although it's not township, it's not county. There is another kind. There's another kind of open space that isn't on there because it's not, it hasn't seemed relevant, but it's something that I think as an EAC, we need to consider. And that is the conservation easements that are held by HOAs. The home, HOA. Homeowners Association, thank you. Anybody here belong to a homeowners association, live in, Jody, you do? Sarah, you have a HOA? No? Okay, that's it, just one. So the reason I say that is for two reasons. One, that conserved open space is part of the deal that came with that building of that development. It had to be set aside at the time of the building. It is not allowed to be built upon. Whatever anybody does with it in terms of going out and having a soccer game or whatever, it is conserved open space. So it needs to kind of be pictured there, I think, or a map, whether it's the map for this or not. I think it's important. And one of the reasons, as an EAC person, that I think it's important is that they often have stormwater basins on that. And as an EAC, we need to think about things like stormwater and doing our best to help the township take care of the stormwater problems, which we know are many and grievous. So yeah, we have floods, we have bad floods. We also have very, very polluted water. Don't eat fish out of the channel. You're not allowed to. It's polluted. And so, impaired is the euphemism for pollution. So there are all these different kinds of open space, and knowing that, and it might be awfully quick to just say, think off the top of your head, but because the EAC thinks about these kinds of things, the board wouldn't mind having suggestions for some things that they could think about going ahead and doing in terms of an open space, next steps on open space, or would they take input for the plan? Or is that in the county's hands first?
No, it's in the committee's hands.
It's in the committee.
Yeah. And then it goes to the board.
So I guess basically.
And when the board goes to accept it, there'll be a public forum, not necessarily a hearing, but there'll be a public forum to discuss it.
So there are public things.
Yeah.
There will be a public ordinances.
So open space doesn't have to be accessible to the public, right?
Right.
Okay.
There are all kinds of open space. The items on that map that have numbers on them are conservation easements on private property, still held by private individuals. So if you have 10 acres and for whatever reason, you want to make sure whether you were invited to do this and offered fair market value for it, or whether you just out of the goodness of your heart want to make sure that doesn't turn into a development or anything else like that in the future, you can make an agreement to have a conservation easement put on that property. It's still your property. The easement terms will determine what you do with the property. If it's your property and you decide to go ahead and build a golf course on it, then no, that doesn't make any sense, right? The conservation easement is to conserve the land. So it's the township offers, a reasonable sum for something like this. Other places do it as well. And if I stop me, Deanna, if I say something in this, okay.
See, I would agree the golf course is open space, but that's because I'm a golfer.
I think everybody here probably knows why golf courses are not good open space. Grants is the next thing next to cement in terms of stormwater management. Cement, Chris. Anyway, that's a side discussion. The conservation easement that you would put on your property if you chose to do it is in agreement with the township. It stipulates what kind of and can't be done in terms of development, macadam, buildings, things like that. I should say asphalt instead of macadam. And that lives with the land. You can sell the land. But if the conservation easement stays on the land. Kind of like when, if you have an easement for Pico across your property, because telephone or electric lines go across your property, that lives on your property. If you sell your property, the next person, that easement for the electric lines is still on that. It's forever.
It's a contract. If you're signing a contract.
Yes, it's in perpetuity. It becomes part of that property. So you can see huge lots of land have been put under conservation use. Those are still private property, and it's still those people's private properties. The township can purchase open space in an extremely insensitive environmental area and just keep it as a, so say, for example, a wildlife refuge. I don't think we have anything like that left. But places do that, right? You've probably seen wildlife refuges where you don't go in. So there's all kinds of open space. Some have public access with trails. Some have no public access. Some are parks, like North Branch Park with all kinds of playground equipment. I never saw a golf course labeled open space.
Oh, I have. Well, certainly have.
But that's the survey results. That's what people want to say.
What I would,
That can take. And I think it's really important for people. Wanting to have open space, it doesn't have hands and trails. We're concerned with migration.
yeah. So if you looked at it, I think it was 88% of people said, just set it aside. We don't need to ever visit it. Yeah. So, then there are other things, a place where people could walk through is another option. It didn't, one thing that well, I guess there could be accessibility issues. So the new Neshaminy Greenway Trail is 6 feet, 8 feet, how wide is that? 8 feet. It's 8 feet of asphalt through the woods.
That's accessible for the police too.
Yeah.
They don't have to be accessible for the police if they're paved.
If they're paved.
Right.
Right. Even if they're paved that wide?
Have to pave them wider.
Okay, so that is a consideration. There's paved trails, which end up being 8 feet of asphalt through the woods. The downside being you have to take heavy equipment all the way through in order to build that asphalt trail.
But the goal is to have ADA trails so that everybody can access it.
Right.
Enjoy it. So it's public.
Yes,
That's the law.
I know.
Well,
Well,
they're building trails at Butte Valley on some of the shorter trails. We have the ADA through the whole park, right? Everybody knows there's a big paved trail for riding your bicycle or whatever around the whole lake. But there are fewer trails over there right now, so that we can have everybody that comes in with the school groups, et cetera, that they can get a wheelchair around the whole mini loop, and then there's another smaller.
Yeah, if you want to get a grant, you have to comply with ADA requirements. So
Yes. Well, trail that they've been working on, we have issues, because because the shadow groups. And they're just paving, it's not 8 feet wide, but it is enough for a wheelchair or someone to walk side by side with someone that needs help. It allows the water to flow underneath. It's engineered to allow the water to move.
It's not paving, what is it? It's not paving, it's that.
It's not blacktop, it's gravel and it has stone through the center that's white. I wasn't there when they built it. I helped do some edging for on pictures. So I know it's there, it's not complete. But the goal, we have goals, just like the township, we can get people in there to.
How much damage was there in making the trail to the woods? Because they were tight, those dirt paths were tight.
Well, they put in invasives. They have foresters come in. So, ash trees were dropped. It's like a war zone. I mean, that's, it's freaking in. Okay. So. It's gonna be replanted. That's the spring plan, is to get trees and shrubs in there rather than multiflora rows and things that. But we're making it inaccessible.
I feel like it's less about the size of the path and more about what's either side of the path, because right now, I mean, most of the park is invasive plants, so it's not a huge loss to cut a swath. It would be a lot better to clear a lot of that stuff.
In there, really, let's try enough, we can certainly. Good.
I'm not suggesting we hold it.
So if the township has been collecting that little bit of Burlington tax for a lot of years, does that mean there's money there?
There is a lot of money there to spend. That's why we're asking for action items. I don't want to spend on crazy, crazy ideas, but there's money to spend to either purchase, if available, land, or to offer terms for conservation easements. Is there anything else one would do?
So the money is only available to purchase the conservation easement and to do any public improvements on the land. So say if we bought and we wanted to do a park, we bought a piece of property and it's perfect for a park. Like a recreation park, like a North Branch, we could do that with the money.
You could improve existing properties
You can improve the property that you buy. Right.
that you've already bought them.
Yeah, we can do property we've already bought. Yeah. No, it's not.
Is this money invested?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's invested to the restrictions that we have. Yeah, yeah. No, it's. I think, so my understanding is, I think once the open space plan is done, then the township may embark on doing a park and recreation plan. And determine what the future needs for park and recs are. And tie the two together. With the open space plan and the park and rec plan. And then they'll have a clear vision for both components of it and then proceed.
And we can always give recommendations. One thing, if you note in the survey, is people said, we have enough playgrounds. We have enough sports fields. I've asked several times at the Park and Rec Board, is there ever any shortage of sports fields? Is there ever any, like, I'm sorry, you can't have that field because it's already taken. They said, never, never.
No, because most of the kids go to Warren.
Why?
Because there's a shortage. There's a shortage of fields, so Warrenton has a lot of.
Wait a minute, but I was told that there is.
They do. Not true, most of the softball play in Warrenton.
Okay, so how
Most
does
of the girls from here go to Warrenton. Younger girls play here, because they get more. There is
Better facilities.
better facilities.
Yeah, they were camps, Warrington's,
Yeah.
Warrington's had an EAC.
But there is
40
def-
years.
Yeah, we got a basketball court. Hate to say it, but that's not true. I don't know what happened.
The park and rec board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The chair of the park and rec board.
Well, I was gonna say, is it based on requests? Like, do you have, if you have softball teams requested, maybe requested to be
They did.
recently? Or is it?
No, my granddaughters.
No, because I used to be on the park. And and it seemed like some townships actually wanted to use
They
the park.
only get like 2 feet.
They
Yeah,
were
no,
voting on
yeah,
request, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, if no one's recently requested it, like the park and rec board would
I
know.
think, I mean, they did. I know my granddaughter.
So what you're saying is the appropriate fields weren't there, so they just got up and
Most of the
established
girls
a different habit.
play. Especially as they get older, you know, better teams.
But again, just being on the park and rec board recently, I know too, they'd have like baseball tournaments and people would like to come to our New Britain to do tournaments. So I guess it depends again, if they're not being asked about town, to use the township fields, the park and rec board would have no idea that there was that's probably they wouldn't
They
know.
gave up. Every church, like, yeah, they gave up 10 years ago.
So they gave up 10 years ago.
The girls gave up.
It's a convoluted history.
But I think, but again, I do think that people come here to play soccer. That's the trade of,
You know, I think that's the too, because they wanted like earth.
that's.
All right. We should probably move on, but do we want to think about it, or would we like to, based on the report that you read, suggest any action items to the board right now that they could consider in putting forth their plan?
I think, personally, I think it's premature until you see the plan. Until you see a draft of the plan, until it's all put together. I don't think it's ready for public comment. I know, and when you,
It's the
Hmm?
size of the font.
really? Okay, I just, okay. I would think you'd want to, I would think you'd want to see the report. Yeah.
And that's, I can see too. I could see too, because I feel like if you live on the western side of the township, where there's massive amounts of development going on, and Butler Avenue is now a place to avoid at night or like on a rush hour, because traffic is horrible. Because I've lived here for 12 years and I've seen the increase when they first opened up 202, the highway. It relieved some of that congestion, but now that they're building, I could see why people in the township, when you did that open space survey, what you gain from open space is fewer houses. So I don't think there's planning for, you're building all these houses and townhomes, and where are all these people? They all have 2 cars. In 10 years, if they have children, they're gonna have 4 cars. Like, where are all these cars going? And where the other side of the township, there's 2-acre lots and, it's not even. I guess that's for, I think as a township resident, I don't think there's a conformity. The people on the one side of the township live in the country, and the people on the other side, it's starting to look like, Northeast Philly. Like it's, there's houses and, they're putting houses behind the Wawa. That's where I think,
Yeah.
that's why I agree to your point. I think we should maybe have some input before they, during the drafting, because that's why I think open space is important, because it's,
Yeah, that's a sort of,
Exactly, like a,
like, what can you say now
Planning.
that would help, would have some input for devising the open space plan? Waiting until the open space plan is completely written seems to be coming a little bit late to the party. So one suggestion would be, in developing a plan, include a focus on what that's newer.
yeah,
The south-
this is really western, like this. I don't know if the map is,
I know.
like,
where
this
you're
is,
at.
this is like the western, like this is Longfellow Ave, right? So it's
Yeah.
starting to get crowded.
What's the name for that section? Love the name. It's, it's.
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about, yeah.
We'll call it once.
Thinking
The Wawa area.
the Wawa area, okay.
You can't fix it. You say it's in the here. It doesn't, might not be a development, but it's,
I have an idea. So I've been part of these in other towns. What we've done is, as we get the group, we have an open space plan group, right? As we move forward, and we're getting ready to schedule a next meeting, maybe we can discuss this, is that we have a public forum for that group. And we put out display boards and maps, and we invite the public in and get their comments at a session like that. And do it through the open space plan group. Does that make sense?
don't think we have enough information yet. And I think having a group to sit and
Yeah.
study it.
Kathleen, you're on the group. Yeah. Right.
People dedicated a lot of time over the past months to thinking about.
I don't agree with you saying maybe more visual, like the maps, we can get them blown up, put on display boards, and people can come in and walk around and look at things and make comments. It's almost like an open house type forum. We've done it with comp plan updates, where you're doing a comprehensive plan or zoning update, and that's how you get the input from the public. You advertise it, so it's just not people who are interested in open space, it's the people who are interested in the town.
But
As an open space, oh yeah, definitely, but it's like you may get a bigger mix of people. And then you get opinions from both, all over. And that's what, I mean, obviously the survey did that, but now we need to, I think that all the plans I've been part of, we've always had public meetings at like benchmark points with that group, yeah.
Okay.
Is the size of the fund public knowledge? Do we know?
Sure, it's like just over $5.5 million. It's part of the budget. It's sitting in there. Yeah.
And like, is that correct?
Well, right now, we can only invest in CDs. We can't.
I'm sorry, I had the wrong question. Annually, like how much does?
It gets in about, as the incomes go up, it's sliding up. Right now, we're projecting it about $875,000 next year. An increase, but then we're drawing down some of it to pay for the plan and some other expenses to maintain some of the space that we have to maintain. So.
We've contracted with the county to actually do the writing of the plan, so contracted out the doing of the survey.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, the fund only has probably $100,000 in expenses a year. It's when we do something, that's when
And the expenses are going toward payment.
some of the property, yeah, we do some of the maintenance. If we have to do any You know, we just budget in case, you know, we have to go in and do something, we have the money sitting there, but the open space plan itself is $50,000. So that's where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
I would say if storm goes through and takes down trees and we have to clean them up. That's what we have to do.
Let's say Veteran Park, the Meadow, it's not every 3 years. Who
Yeah.
pays for
That, yeah,
that?
the township, yeah.
It's on that schedule.
But it doesn't come out of the open space.
No.
That could get silly.
Ever so slightly tangential, but a line here is, have we ever talked about doing controlled burn? Or,
Not that I'm aware of.
That would take a lot of. I said that would take a lot of.
The only place I know you. They have to schedule it with 5 different companies. Site, time, the weather. And so, everybody goes out.
Yeah.
So it's have too many houses. Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah, that's a lot of,
Given the-
that's a lot of ecological value to it. You just have enough burn down everything.
Okay. I will say personally, I like the idea of the EAC, thinking about it and putting forth some things that don't get lost in. If a lot of people come to an open meeting on an open space plan, it's a good thing that there are a lot of different voices. But I think it could also be a valuable thing for there to be a separate memo from the point of view of the EAC, having thought together on the issue for a while. So I'm not sure when the meeting could come. It would be down the road. Would it be okay with you if in February we revisit this and we'll have a better map? Because I do think that.
Trying to schedule the next this planned meeting.
Yeah.
I just heard from the county guy. I think it's going to be after the holidays because of where we're at. I don't think we get it in. There may be 1 or 2 dates this year, but I'm not sure. So it's either going to happen late this month. Well, it won't happen after Christmas. It won't happen anytime after the 20th. So it'll probably be beginning of next year.
Okay. Are we over with that? Okay, but think about it. There will be, I spoke with the engineer, emailed with the engineer who did this map to me. And, she's still going to be updating. There are some things to add here. That Hosapian, that track, Hosapian track. It's not on here. I can't find it when I look at the parcel map. Okay,
It was mentioned a couple times.
I know, but I can't
And I
find it.
thought, okay,
Yeah.
well, a lot of them, you can't find, there's 2 names on it. So
Well, but
that's
these are
why it
all
doesn't
private
get
properties.
cleaned up.
But I believe the Hosapian tract I was told that it is township owned,
Okay,
but I am still not sure about that. I actually think that it might be one of these. But we'll find out. That will all come out in the wash. So this map is not only going to be more complete and correct, we're going to get a digital copy, and then I'll send you that. Space.
Study group.
good, okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you for doing it. Because it's not clearly unbound.
Well, it's kind of sketchy, I'm gonna.
All right. So that's where we are in open space. Seeing the map, we're going to get a better map and we're going to get a digital one because you'll go cross-eyed trying to read how many names on this, let me not tell you.
I did spend a lot of time looking at it. I love math.
I do too, but with the reading land is right under a land. But do you know the parcel map viewer? Do people know that? If you're going to think about this, you should know this, and I will send you the link. and I don't know if it will. So it looks like this when you get into it. All the area between lines, little skinny white lines there, they demarcate parcels, meaning an individually owned, right?
Private property.
Piece of property, whether, and then if you click it or touch it, well, I have an iPad, so if you touch it, you get the parcel number, the address, you read the municipality that it's in. You get the owner. It might list people's names. It might list Bucks County or Pico or New Britain Township. So you can start to get a sense of, when you look at this map, you can start clicking around on things and saying, okay, well, who owns it? Sometimes you see that one person owns several parcels. You can just sort of put the two things together and start making some discoveries that are very, very interesting. For example, you might have noticed that I marked off the Shrine of Cheskahovo on here. I only know that because I started looking at owners of big hunks of land, and that's who it was.
They put on my house.
Yeah, they're right by your house.
I mean, it's around my house.
Yeah. Whether that will stay open space or not, it depends on what they do.
It's like it's others.
The Paul Line Fathers, yes. But I'll send you that link.
Years.
If nothing else, it's very interesting to zoom around on that and look at all the different parts. It really is. It's a Bucks County, this isn't gonna make any sense, data portal, Bucks GIS. But it's called. But I'll send the link because it's not, once you got the link, it's easy to find and get into it. I had a hard time. Are we good on that? Is there anything else we want to say about open space? I'm very excited that we may be able to move forward and purchase or get under conservation easement more of the township. Start to have throughways for things. That'd be fabulous. And maybe even places where we can plant more stuff. Yeah. Yeah. All right. The next thing is reports on the Pine Run. I'm calling it the Pine Run. Because Pine Run goes right through it. There are other words that are used. Forest Park is another term that is used for that area. Fairwoods is also a term that is used for that area. But that's what I mean when I say Pine Run Creek planting. So you want to, you were there, I'm talking too much.
Oh. We put in trees.
25.
25 trees.
Mhm.
Is that all?
Yeah,
Seemed like more.
I
Okay.
know, it did seem like more.
Yeah. And everything was caged, which is great. So visually, you're not seeing tubes, which a lot of people have tendency to complain about. But there are cages on each thing. And you said some went missing, or you thought they were missing,
If you
but
want to come with me and help me count
I
the
think-
pages.
I think what's key, I don't generally go back to plantings right away, but you do have some loss, and it could be, we planted it during the rut and the bucks are running around. And if they get their antlers caught or are chasing a doe, they will run right over this. They are quite heavy.
And take it with them.
And they take it.
There's a picture for you.
They get it through. So, but if you could see where things are planted. So that was, if it wasn't disrupted, then.
So,
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah. But we planted 65, mostly oak. I think they should all still be there, and I'm just having trouble counting the cages. They're a big basin, and they're huge. And you
Two,
could count.
two separate sites.
Yeah.
One was closer to the homes,
Right.
and the other was closer to the water. So retention basin and a berm, and on the other side of the berm is a floodplain. And we put in red twig dogwood
There's your dogwood.
some red. With,
A mook.
a small oak.
Oh, there were a number of small oaks.
Yeah.
The viburnums are in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. So it should be nice. And one thing, Dan, I noticed when I was looking at the MS4 stuff for the Chamonix Consortium, I started poking around again at our MS4 goals. And one of the things on the list of goals was a riparian buffer at Sycamore Circle. So I looked up Sycamore Circle and it's the same area.
Mhm.
It's just,
So we worked on it.
we worked on it. We planted in the basin.
Check.
Something.
The bad thing about that whole area is that an actual riparian buffer in the sense of close up to the creek is impossible because the gas line runs.
Right.
What a dumb place for a gas line. Dumb. Right up against the creek, so you cannot put in live stakes along the edge, any kind of a really robust riparian buffer, and then it goes under the creek.
Mhm.
And it takes care of the other side as well, wipes it. So it's pretty frustrating.
Nothing.
No, no. So, planning in those basins. And I would suggest for the future, when we walked that, Ken Jones and I walked with Ryan Cressman, the area and talked about where to plant. And because some of the residents have been vocal, he was concerned about not planting in the first basin, and so we planted in the second.
Pretty sad, yeah.
Yeah, if the township wished to be firm, or maybe they'll see how beautiful the basin we planted, but it would be wise to plant first. So,
Pick our battles.
yeah. Okay, so that was that one, and then there were a couple other people want to call out. Jerry was there, Chet was there, Lisa was there.
Hopefully everybody. Nothing could happen without.
No use. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, we have pictures to prove it.
Yeah, we did post them on the Facebook page. We posted those, the pictures, yeah.
So that was great. And then finish having a greenwood trail with a 2-day planting. Does everybody know where that is? You could walk. It. Yeah. I didn't want to, but it's.
Yes.
Between Bureau and Bristol Road.
The
Village there, so you can pull in the fire. Start looking from there.
So on Upper State Road, if you're going from the direction of, from Limekiln, say, you cross over Bristol, and after you cross over Bristol, watch to your left. When you pass the 2 willow woods, it's a circle, it's willow wood on both sides. Once you pass the willow woods, the very next thing you'll see 2 stone columns and a little parking lot. You pull in, it's on your left. Small parking lot, park your car, you'll see the entrance to the trail. 8-foot wide asphalt trail. Right through the woods. The creek will show up on your right. And one thing I learned that I hadn't known until I was planting there is that on the other side of the creek, it abuts with no breaks the Wilma Cleveland Nature Preserve that's in Newbury County. Shelby. Yeah. So that's a big piece of area that is naturalized.
Yeah.
Or left to nature. There are people in New Britain working very hard on getting rid of the invasives. Well, and it's also invasive, so of course. So there are two of the many tree plantings that have gone on. The two that, well, the Pine Run was us. And then we were partners with the Neshaminy Watershed Association on the other one. And they've been working on that stuff for a while. And I hope you're all in for more tree plantings next year, because there will always be more.
With a Greenway Trail and a Coleman.
Because we've been calling it the Coleman property. That was, I guess, the name of the owner.
That was.
Yeah. So, you know, what do you call something? You buy a piece of land. It doesn't have a name. So it was just known as the Coleman property for a long time. So it's because somebody, I wrote that, because some people know it as the Coleman property. And it has been very recently referred to as the Coleman.
But the Greenway is the whole trail. It connects Doylestown Township, New Britain Township, New Britain Borough. They're connecting everything so that you can access a bicycle, hiking. It's miles long. It's started. It's 30 years ago. Doylestown Borough started right by the elementary school there at Doyle. And it's been growing in segments. So every elementary school area has a connector so the kids can every first school. And then it's grown and grown through different townships. So they're gonna connect. Well, when you connect it, you can just walk. Hoverboard by the time we're done.
Is the possibility. Of the Greenway Trail.
How long the connection would be, see, that's. Well, yeah, a bridge.
It's across the.
Yeah.
There's one there.
Probably 30 to 40 feet. We'd spend the whole fund just on the bridge.
The desire expressed by residents was get more land. The connecting between parcels of land that we already have isn't on the top burner. You know.
How much for 2 zip lines? Just an implied liability. Right.
That's actually what I meant when I said it's the area. Do more of that. Okay, is there any public comment on anything? New ideas, suggestions? One item that we have left hanging over us is a sign for the garden. Oh, so Rain Barrel Joe. Anybody else know Rain Barrel Joe? That's my mistake, Joe France. Is the very kind gentleman who owns a window washing company using paper, is the person who's been donating the rain barrels to our various plantings. And he said, how about, and he apparently has one available, instead of a traditional rain barrel, they have these, you've seen them, like they had at the Grange, the big aluminum trough. It's pretty much a lot. Oh, except that this would be acting like a rain barrel, because it wouldn't be under use one of those. So just imagine an aluminum trough that's about 3 feet high, 6 feet long. Yes, like a livestock trough. Instead of the traditional rain barrel, and what you do is you can make a planter on the top of it, but still have a place where you can access water. Your plants. And he said, and what you can do is you can that can be your sign. In other words, instead of a traditional sign, we could paint on that big canvas the points that we are making about the native plant garden. It is.
He's very creative.
He is. He comes up with things that surprise me. Yeah. So that's a thought, especially since we don't have $500 for a sign. And who wants I would only worry about vandalism.
What about just signs, just the plants? Sort of-
Little identification signs, but what we were trying to wrap our brains around was, a sign that explains in an educational fashion that this is a native pollinator garden, what's important about that, and very briefly, what they do. And for that, you need, like the one at Peace Valley. Yeah. But they are pricey. Of course, that's also susceptible to graffiti.
Well, it's supposed to be graffiti proof.
How does that work?
We don't need a sign.
Yeah.
It's powder coated. Aluminum.
Mm.
They try to cover all bases for, but it's not.
Maybe we can find out what they put on it.
I think it's
Scrubbable, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a coating that we could put on it and to make it scrubbable.
100 acres of visible. No screw.
So it's available. Apparently, we could have it.
It's young.
Has to be evidence. Hmm.
Sure. Various. But I mean, that's a pretty large. To account for it.
Freeze thaw, the initiative. Freeze thaw, thank you.
We have to empty it to remove it. Yeah, you mean for the painting?
So anyway,
Yeah,
let's move on.
right,
January meeting.
yeah.
I didn't see
We
that.
had discussed last time about skipping the January meeting because it would basically be New Year's Day or the day after New Year's Day. Would everybody be okay with that? Sure, you okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
And we already agreed to stick with the first Wednesday,
Do we need a motion?
to have our next meeting in February. Yes. To make it official. We discussed it last time, but we have to make it official. So,
You want to make a motion? Yeah.
Make sure we announce it. We'll make sure it's announced.
So that would mean February 5th is our next meeting. I'll send you the information ahead of time about the documents we'll be looking at and the agenda. That's just a reminder, I hope. But I,
On that list. Fine.
yeah.
Just important.
How do I say your name? Okay, maybe. Check your spam. If you don't get emails from me, check your spam. Because the list is up, even though there's only like, there's about 20 some people. Said they're interested in one. And there's 4 or 5 people who usually come and watch today. It's sort of, goes like that. So I don't want to take people off the list, but I do start to worry. Does anybody know what the spam level number is? Where I become a mailing list?
I'm just saying, I'm not on that with it. Like, you send an email on the December 2nd, right? My email's not. That's what I'm saying.
How that's done. Many apologies.
That's right.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Jamie, can you take the? So, Jamie makes the motion, go ahead, Jamie.
Have a wonderful holiday, if I have you next week with cardboard.